Today on Notified, we bring you breaking Facebook news. If you're a business owner, don't go anywhere. You better not. Hey, I said don't go. You're still here. Okay. Roll the intro. Hello, I'm Brett Campbell and welcome to another episode of Notified, where today we're talking about something that is literally going to affect every single person who has a Facebook page. More importantly, it's going to definitely affect those who have Facebook fan pages, business pages, whatever you'd like to call them. It's going to kick some of you in the butt. A lot of you are not going to be happy about it, but here's what I will say. This is not the first time this has happened. I'm going to get into the nuts and bolts of it all, but just to let you know, this is not the first time this has ever happened. It happened a few years ago, and I'll give you a little bit of background about that. One of the big things, I'm actually really excited about it. It's quite funny. I'm really excited about now everyone, and I talk about this, I talk all around the country, share with thousands of entrepreneurs every single year, and one of the things I always say is that we all have a level playing field, and now we literally have been brought back to equilibrium. So we've now all got an opportunity to either excel or to throw our toys in the cot and let our results dissipate. Okay, so what's happened is there is and if you have been hiding under a rock or you haven't been on Facebook, then this will be news to your ears. But there's been a brand new newsfeed update. Now, give you some background story. This has actually been happening for a few months in the background. Facebook had been testing, in certain countries, not in Australia, not in America. So there have been other countries affected by this prior to this actually being rolled out. But on January the 11th, which is Friday, I know I'm bringing this to you 3 days later, but I had a weekend, right? I have to relax sometimes myself. And it actually gave me some good time over the weekend to think about it. So I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and views on the importance of this and what you can actually do to combat it. So let's jump into the article here. We've got, it's got Newsfeed FYI. That's a nice title, Facebook, bringing people closer together. So it's important for you to know that Facebook are doing this because they actually are looking to improve the platform. Whilst it might feel like they're coming from they're disrupting a lot, which they are, but their main purpose of doing this is apparently to bring people closer together. So they said Facebook was built to bring people closer together and build relationships. One of the ways we do this is by connecting people to meaningful posts from their friends and family in the newsfeed. That's a huge statement. Nowhere there have they said by connecting businesses to consumers, right? Which is interesting when the cash flow for Facebook does come from businesses. Over the next few months, we'll be making updates to ranking so people have more opportunities to interact with the people they care about most. In the next few months, this doesn't mean as of right now, the world's crumbling. So you've got ample amount of time. Don't wait until you actually see a complete critical drop off in your newsfeed for you to do something about it. So basically, in a nutshell, Mark Zuckerberg, and he even stated here, and I talked about this in a past episode of Notified, where one of his biggest goals this year is to really be working on Facebook and improving the platform and making sure the algorithms are working to benefit all users where appropriate. But Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook post here says, one of our big focus areas for 2018 is making sure the time we all spend on Facebook is time well spent. We build Facebook to help. Oh, there we go, I'm live in my own live. That's interesting. One of our big focus areas for 2018 is making sure the time we spend on Facebook is time well spent. We built Facebook to help people stay connected and bring people closer. That's why we've always put friends and family at the core of the experience. You'll know this because, especially on my personal profile, have you ever looked at all of your friends and maybe someone's like put up a wedding photo with an engagement ring on it, or it's someone's birthday? You'll notice that those posts always get more interaction than anything. Introducing, you're pregnant, you're having a baby, those posts just go super crazy because Facebook see that as a huge cog in the overall chain to be able to connect people together, which is, I keep going back to this, but you would almost think their main focus is to be able to make sure that it's not just about friends and family connecting, it's about connecting people who you're not necessarily maybe engaged with, because the whole point of social media is to be social and build a network of a community of people. But it says here, but recently we've gotten feedback from our community that public content, posts from businesses, brand and media, is crowding out the personal moments, which sort of does make sense. If you scroll through your Facebook newsfeed right now and go and do this test, not right now, but after you've watched this video, go and scroll through and actually have a look at how many posts are actually a sponsored post versus an image versus a close friend of yours, someone you actually know. And you'll actually be very surprised. I mean, I could scroll through my Facebook newsfeed and I could probably scroll for 10 posts and don't even know any of the people who are in there. And that's because there's another reason, which I'm gonna get to in a minute for that, which might be able to help you. But basically here, Mark Zuckerberg, they've gone in, he feels it's a responsibility to make sure our services aren't just fun to use, but also good for people's well-being. So we've studied this trend carefully, and by looking at the academic research and doing our own research with leading experts at universities, the research shows that when we use social media to connect with people we care about, it can be good for our well-being. Oh, ain't that great? That's good. So based on this, we're making a major change to how we build Facebook. Here's where it starts to get interesting. Let's roll back to the main article here and let me give you the crux of what the update is. It says, today we use signals like how many people react to comments, or react to posts, comment, or share posts to determine how high they appear in the newsfeed. With this update, we will also prioritize posts that spark conversations and meaningful interactions between people. To do this, we will predict, the word predict, they're not going to get this right. To do this, we will predict which posts you might want to interact with your friends and show these posts higher in the feed. These are posts that inspire back and forth discussion in the comments and posts that you might want to share and react to. Interesting thing there is what pops up for me more is when was the last time you actually asked a question versus putting a statement in your post. You know, so the whole point there, they're wanting interaction. They want backwards and forwards conversations. As you can see how the news feed's improved over time, they've introduced the reply. So this right here, let me show you an example. You can tell Facebook want you to have interaction with people because about 6 months ago, this reply button right here that you see underneath a post, it wasn't there. You can now reply and you can stem off and have conversations based off someone's comment. Right, there's sometimes you can go to a post and it's almost like pick your own path of where you want this to end up, because conversations will be spurred off someone's comment and then another discussion. That's what Facebook want. They want as much interaction as they can on a particular post. Okay, so what does this mean for pages and public content? So if you have a fan page, this is super important for you, super critical. Because spaces in newsfeed is limited, showing more posts from friends and family and updates that spark conversations means we'll show less public content, including videos and other posts from publishers or businesses. This is interesting. I'm very, very intrigued to see what they do because they've just brought out Facebook Watch, right? Facebook Watch is a brand new publishers platform where they're now allowing content creators to create their own shows and upload videos. They're even going to be monetizing that. I talked about that, I think, in episode number 1, where creators now are going to actually be able to derive an income from creating content on Facebook. But then they come over here a few days later and they're now saying that they're going to be showing less public content, including videos. Now, that's not a surprise, right? This happened back when Facebook sort of hit 1 billion users. The whole algorithm of how many people were on there versus how many posts were going up each day, the same thing happened, right? Unless they can bring on another 5 billion users, or another billion users so that we can get more of our posts shown, they need to do things like this. It just has to happen. I predicted this about 3 months ago and I've been talking about it ever since. It's going to happen with Instagram. Very, very shortly, Instagram's engagement is going to drop. They're going to have to make a critical change. But in this case, with over 2 billion users now on Facebook, never has it been more important. So they want to put an emphasis on communication, right? So comments or posts that can create engagement. So think about that. You could almost turn any post into a question or a conversation. So don't just think you have to change your entire process. Just look at little nuances, things that you can change and implement to create a little bit more engagement. As we make these changes, pages may see their reach, video time, and referral traffic decrease. That will definitely happen. The impact will vary from page to page, driven by factors including the type of content they produce and how people interact with it. Pages making posts that people generally don't react or comment to could see the biggest decrease. Basically what they're going to try and do is they're going to tidy up a whole heap of the network, and probably by doing this they're going to hope that there's going to be tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of Facebook pages that disappear, so it can make room for the ones who are consistent, who are persistent. Pages who post prompt conversation between friends will see less of an effect. So again, it's very vague, because again, putting this out over the billions of users, it's very hard to get exact directives of, okay, this is exactly what's going to happen. They don't know. A lot of this is just artificial learning. Like, they don't have a person sitting there looking at your post going, should it, shouldn't it? No. What they do have how it is going to be working, like they've mentioned here, is it's all going to be artificial learning. It's going to be, they'll have certain key phrases if they see certain things that are happening. I talked about this in the last episode about engagement baiting, which I think leads to here now. What types of posts we'll see higher in the newsfeed? So page posts that generate conversations, already said that. For example, live videos, this is killer. And there's another reason why I'm doing a live video right now as well as filming our episode of Notified. Because, and this probably isn't a surprise, but you probably didn't know the number, says, for example, live videos often lead to discussion among viewers on Facebook, of course. In fact, live videos on average get 6 times as many interactions as regular videos. Many creators who post videos on Facebook prompt discussions among their followers, as do posts from celebrities. So down here they talk about engagement baiting. So using engagement bait to goad people into commenting on posts is not a meaningful interaction, and we will continue to demote these posts in newsfeed. So if you haven't heard about engagement bait, or you don't really understand what that is, go and check out the previous episode of Notified. I talk about that and I cover that in a lot more detail. Does this mean you are eliminating page content from the newsfeed? No. So they're not saying they're going to be demoting all pages, but it says this update is not the same as recent tests, because basically what they did was they've started another test where they've had a different page. They were running simultaneous, like different news feeds, and this was the test I started talking about at the start of the show here. That isn't coming into effect. So essentially what Facebook were doing was going to have 2 news feeds. This isn't the case. They're basically cleaning up the main news feed. So this will be very interesting to see what happens. Let's go back to Mark Zuckerberg's post here and see if we can get some, like, I'm always interested to see what people are actually reacting like. And if you're tuning into the Facebook Live now, let us know in the comments what you think of these changes and potential effects that it might have. Basically, the biggest lesson I can see is they just really want to try and encourage meaningful interactions. The word meaningful, I mean, use that as loosely as you want. I'm sure they just want to see comments backwards and forwards, dialogue happening. You know, for example, there are many tight-knit communities around TV shows and sports teams. We've seen people interact way more around live videos than regular ones, especially ones where people actually streaming live UFC. Don't get into that, you'll get yourself in trouble. He also says, now, I want to be clear, and this is from Mark Zuckerberg himself, by making these changes, I expect the time people spend on Facebook and some measures of engagement will go down. Meaning, basically, people are going to get their panties in a knot, and they're going to maybe boycott Facebook for a few days here and there, but then they're going to come back because everyone's addicted to Facebook. And then in another month, no one's going to know none the wiser. It will just be on to the next chapter. But I also expect the time you do spend on Facebook will be more valuable. And if we do the right thing, I believe that will be good on our community and business overall long term. There we go. Facebook, hey? What's some comments here? Morgan's not really happy, not on board with this at all. I can see my family and friends in real life. Yes, you can. I come to Facebook to be informed, to comment with people from around the world. Most of us, you are just using this structuring as a means of censorship and to make media outlets and businesses pay you more. Interesting. I probably disagree with parts of those comments. I mean, this video isn't about me going through people's comments and agreeing or disagreeing, but I definitely look at it from the aspect of just now being smarter about what you do have available. So if you want to connect with people from around the world, why not build your own personal network of people from around the world? So be a little bit more, intentional with building your own personal profile. Hence why I've been on this from day one about if you don't have 5,000 Facebook friends right now, you should really do your best to get 5,000 Facebook friends. Start engaging that way. And I'm saying 5,000 friends, not just of anyone, of quality people who you want to actually have conversations with. And don't turn your personal profile into just a total pitch fest of all your business doings. However, I'm a big believer on my own personal page. I do post our business, I post our vlogs, I post our videos, I post our content, because who I am in business is actually who I am in real life, right? Go figure. So look at using intentionally how you could use your Facebook profile page even better. Anthony, he's bummed that this is the direction. I appreciate the honesty, but my newsfeed sucks way more now than it did in 2017. There's a lot of people who don't like it, and you know what? There's going to be a lot of people who do like it. So for me, it's happened. It's happening. There's nothing you can do about it. So the reality of the matter comes, what are you going to do about it? Something actually as well, once this did happen, and look, Mark Zuckerberg probably predicted it, where he said, engagement's going to go down. Don't know if he knew, and this is according to TechCrunch here, once Mark Zuckerberg put the post out, stocks in Facebook dropped. So shares open on Friday at around 178 from the previous day's high of 188, but it's nothing to be super concerned. Of course, there's always going to be a blimp in the radar. Just so you do know, Facebook's not going anywhere. They're always trying to improve their service, whether you know it or not. I personally commend them for doing what they're doing. Even though it's going to affect us even more so. You know, we run an agency, we've got dozens of clients and campaigns and businesses and so forth that we look after and manage. So I'm more excited about how we can then go about and implement the key words here, which is, you know, quality engagement. They want interaction. You know, they've even spelt out videos. I've been very personally, from a Facebook Live perspective, I've been very quiet. I've been in the workshop building Campbell Media Group, and you know, it just goes to show that you got to start listening to what Facebook say. You know, I talk about this in any of my presentations where I'm talking about Facebook. I go, what's the number one rule of Facebook? The number one rule of Facebook is to do what Facebook wants you to do. And in this case, you need to start building meaningful conversations. It doesn't mean you go and stop your fan page. And this is why back in 2013, when this was quite big, you know, one of our fan pages was getting about 20,000 likes per post. And then we woke up to literally like 1,000 likes on a post. We're like, what has happened? It's broken, Facebook broken. They just literally switch the algorithm like that. You know, we had a choice. We could have stopped and we go, we're not getting the reach we wanted. Or you can figure it out. So we figured it out. Please don't be one of those businesses or brands that because your reach has halved or cut in 3/4 that you go and desert it and you move on to something else. There is a way, there will always be a way. You just got to be persistent and make sure you are happy to go and figure it out. So that's all I've got to report on the new newsfeed update. If you haven't checked out any of the past episodes of Notified, make sure you go and do that. I talk about the engagement baiting, talk about ways on how you can actually create and craft content that does matter. So there we have it. I'd love to see what you think. I'd love to see what your game plan is. Let me know below this video if you're thumbs up for the changes or if you're thumbs down. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Notified. I'm Brett Campbell and you've been notified. And you got it that time, eh?
Nice.
Got it. The book.
There you go.
All right, you're still plugged in? I know.
Flip you back around.
Flip me.
There you go.
All right, how we doing? Yeah, Ken, groups, how it's going to affect groups. Very, very interesting. They actually do, down here, I didn't cover that, but they do talk about in groups, people often interact around public content. But again, a lot of the algorithm, what's going to really happen, it's all going to come down to that whole thing. It was called EdgeRank. That was the first time I ever heard of it, which was about the weight of, you know, likes, comments, and shares, and how you can get a good mix of those happening. What I would say is you need to now start becoming more of a statistician in some aspects, where you've actually, what I would encourage you to do is at least every 2-3 days, jump into your Facebook Insights and actually check what is going on. What type of reach are you getting? Check the times on when you're posting. See what types of posts create better interaction than others. There's no magic trick to this. You just got to get in and roll up the sleeves and give it a go.
How do you think it's going to affect, do you think it'll have any effect at all on posts that you're advertising?
I don't think so. I don't think so much. Facebook don't want to ruin what is bringing in the money, which is the advertising. So if you're still in the pay-to-play game, which is why I believe everyone needs to have a paid strategy that backs up an organic strategy. If you're in the pay-to-play and you're running targeted ads, then look, I don't see this being too much of a problem. What it will do though, and this is what I love about it, is now going to start getting you more intentional. You're going to start thinking a little bit more about the types of posts you are posting. You know, I say this to any of my students. I go, if you could only post one thing a week, what would you say? How would it be written? What image would you use? What color would the image be? You know, if you could only use one. So start thinking about that and being more intentional with your posts, quality of posts. And here's a little something that I'd suggest is, you know, if you have a few friends and this is something I'm just actually off the top of the dial, go and give this a try. I think this is going to be a good little strategy. Is if you have a few friends, and people are doing this on Instagram. I guess it's an Instagram hack on how you can build your Instagram following. Is there's things called pods and groups, and when you post, you get people to go on and comment on it. That could be something that you could look to do and just see what it actually does. Where maybe there's half a dozen of you who join a group, make an alliance, split blood brothers, sisters, etc. type scenario where you're like, what? Let's for the next 2 weeks, let's help each other out. We'll post at 7 p.m. each of us, and we'll all go and comment on each other's posts and see what that does. That will definitely increase your engagement. I reckon that's going to be something that I think that could be a good little hack. Bring over some of the old Instagram methodology, bring it into Facebook. Also wondering if this people first, yeah. Look, it's going to. Instagram's going to get to a point where, again, there's too many users for the amount of posts. It's just going to get like that. Instagram engagement right now is way higher than Facebook. I can't throw out a stat, but if I had to throw out a stat, it'd be 70% more than Facebook, right? Meaning you put a post on Instagram and you're going to get a lot more engagement. That's just because they don't have 2 billion users. Has been the word that the price of advertising is going to increase as well. Well, it all depends. Everything's always going to increase. The price of milk, the price of petrol. I mean, I'm almost certain that the price of advertising on Facebook is going to increase as well. So there's nothing really hiding that. It's just a matter of making sure that we're above and we're understanding of what's actually going on the platforms. So never before has it been as important to make sure you've got a pay-to-play method as well. If you're just building your business and hoping your business is going to grow, you're going to generate the leads you need from just doing organic posts, then you've got more chance of being in the first spaceship to go to Mars with Elon. All right. Excellent. So let me know down below. Are you excited about the changes to the Facebook news feed, the algorithm, or are you more annoyed than anything? Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Notified, where we bring you the most up-to-date digital marketing news to help build and grow your business. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can be the first notified.